The era of the five gods. A phrase so synonymous and integral to competitive Melee, it's almost impossible to watch a video on Smash without it coming up at some point.
A group of players referred to as the five gods of Melee.
Underdog in an era of Melee gods.
Considered one of the five gods of Melee.
Maybe it's because of that I have never personally made a dedicated video on it. I kind of just assumed people don't want to hear about it for the 1 millionth time. But today, I'm going to go against that, because I want to tell you a story. A story about one of my favourite tournament runs of all time. That comes from a player that is so often clouded in discussion about his personality that people forget what he's achieved in this game. A run so defined in history that I believe it marks the true end to an era. And to do that, I'm going to need to tell you about five guys. I mean, five gods. But first, let me tell you about today's sponsor, Into the AM. I was actually able to beat the gods in tournament thanks to Into the AM's dope graphic tees and bomber jacket, distracting my opponents, allowing me to play my best. Ever wanted to be the crowd favourite over players like Mango? Just take off your jacket to reveal those sick designs. I actually really like this Spaceman design. The materials feel great and it hasn't even suffered at all from being in the wash. I even wore it to a few tournaments already and got compliments on it. As well as this bomber jacket I'll be wearing throughout the video, which fits great and matches perfectly with other shirts. If you want to get your hands on some of these amazing designs, head on over to intotheam.com/Chaler to get 10% off site-wide. They're even running a promotion on plain and graphic tees, so make sure you get them while you can. Thanks again to Into the AM for sponsoring this video. The era of the five gods. Despite its name, it doesn't really have a clear start nor end. But based on its definition, it's an era in time in competitive Melee where only 5 players were capable of winning major tournaments. Players so far above the rest that they couldn't be beaten except by each other. That means that the era started when the last major was won by a non-god, which according to Liquipedia's list of major tournaments was in 2008 when AMSA, for the last time, no not that one, won Epita Smash Arena 2 over Armada and Captain Jack. Or if you're an Americaboo and that doesn't count, then Viva La Smash Cataclysm in 2007 was won, wildly enough, by Azan, an appropriate bastion for the era prior. So, who were these 5 players? Mewtwo King, Mr. Optimal, with his Swiss Army knife of characters and play that wasted no movement that wasn't trying to get a hit or lead to one. Renowned for his prowess on Marth and reign over his domain of Final Destination, a place where no space animal player dare set foot, Mewtwo King was the first of the gods to emerge and start to leave his mark on the game. Mango, the kid, the goat, the buster. The arrival of Mango is what truly started the era of the gods. Mango started winning tournaments at just 16 years old and burst onto the scene with his Jigglypuff. However, would later switch to the duo of Fox and Falco for the rest of his career, which he would become known for, with his aggressive play and creative approach to the game that was just unlike anyone else. Sometimes going a little too hard, and sometimes becoming a legend. Hungrybox, the clutch god. Hungrybox, while during the era of the gods was known as the weakest, was consistently a gatekeeper to the top, shutting people out with his patient play and will to win unlike that of many others. Hungrybox has described playing Melee like having a gun pointed at the back of his head the whole time, which perfectly shows how he approached Melee. This gatekeeper would occasionally break through to win tournaments that others could not, and was always looking out for any moment of weakness. PPMD, the neutral master. Despite his previous alias, this doctor is all business. It doesn't matter how hard you hit if you can't get a hit. PPMD was known for his incredible laser game with Falco and masterful dash dance on Marth. He would dance around the stage and his opponents with the grace equivalent to that of an ice skater. While he would be the least active of the gods when he decided to come down from his mountain, you would not want to miss it. Finally, Armada, the Terminator himself, and only non-American in the Pantheon. Armada's playstyle is a result of that isolation, with his biggest practice partner being the level 1 Falcon CPU. Armada's punish game was ruthless and clinical. Much like a computer executing a program, Armada would suffocate you with the same punish he had practiced a million times on that poor CPU, resulting in him being one of the most consistent, if not the most consistent player of all time. And during his time in the Pantheon, would never drop even a set to those who didn't reside there. These 5 would win every single tournament with one of them in attendance, all the way through from 2009 to 2014. Funnily enough, a 5-year period. This era is so iconic and built up so many storylines and players. However, some of the greatest stories that would come from this era are the people who were able to break it. So today's main character, and the one to go on the legendary run, is the first person to do so. The one who would tear down the Pantheon one by one and earn the title of Godslayer. Leffen.
Go. Alright guys, get bodied, man, I know.
Leffen started playing Melee at a young age. His first recorded tournament was in 2010 while he was only 15 years old.
Mothers start to driving the kids to football practice. I drove him to town to practice Smash. It was on a regular basis, 2-3 times a week.
And while according to StartGG would go 0-2 as anyone's first tournament does, this young lad and his dinosaur would show an ability to learn. Leffen would start his time in Melee as a Yoshi player and a Mango fan. This is important because of course it means that while he would main Yoshi, he would do a lot of dabbling in Fox and Falco. Within his first year of the game, people were noticing his abilities.
No one has ever done that! No one has ever done that in the history of Dota!
Specifically, a certain Swede that you might know, Armada. Despite being a long distance apart, the future god would help the budding competitor out. During this time, the two of them would get closer as friends, and Leffen saw a path to getting good right from the beginning.
And he wiped the floor with me with every character. And then Armada picked Falcon. I mean, it was probably one of his worst characters at the time. But I took a game, and I was like, this guy got second to Mango. I can do this. I can beat these guys.
Now, whether this was unfounded confidence or not, this pure belief in himself is something that I'm sure facilitated his growth. And within the year, Leffen would show staggering improvement. To the point that where only a year after his first tournament, he would show up to the first ever Beast and place 9th. This was a tournament with talent from all around Europe, to the point that you could probably just call it a European major at that point. And this kid just rocked up and placed 9th, presumably playing a mixture of Yoshi, Fox, and Falco. It's very hard to find VODs from the time, but you can see it in his tournament runs that they seem to include a mix, as he was slowly transitioning from Yoshi to Falco and Fox, then to Fox. During this second year of the game, he would improve drastically, and his thirst for improvement would show, as at only 16 years old, with only 1 full year of competing under his belt, he decided to join Armada and some other Swedes and travel all the way over to the States for Genesis 2. This trip would not only give us an incredibly iconic picture, just look at that beautiful hair. I mean, it was a hell of a lot better than mine at the same age, could have used that shit as a mop. Anyway, on this trip, Leff would keep showing off his improvement, taking sets from familiar names like Vish and Bizarro Flame in pools, beating Chicago ranked player at the time, Dart, and going game 3 in a down to the absolute wire set versus the renowned S2J, who stole the set from right under Leffen's nose. I mean, just look at this back air. According to RetroRank, S2J would have been top 15 in that year. This was a kid who had been playing for only a year at this point. Leffen's talent for the game was evident, so where we go from here just seemed obvious. By the end of 2012, based off of his bigger events, it looked like he was easily one of the best in Europe, ending his year with a second at HF LAN, beating some of the best Europe had to offer, and losing grand finals to Armada. Still, at the end of his third year in the game, he had reached what was a clear top level of the game, and it seemed only inevitable that he would eventually meet his friend Armada at the top of the mountain. In February of 2013, just as Leffens' Melee career was about to start, he received a ban for a year from the Swedish Smash community. The ban are now infamous posts on Smash boards detailing just what they were accusing the young Leffen of, and even including a zip folder at the bottom of the post. The now iconic evidence.zip. A folder that contains screenshots of all of Leffens' problematic behaviour. Not only that, but the ban was headed by his now good friend, Armada. I'm not going to speak on whether this ban was justified or not. I wasn't there, and it seems rather messy, as all bans like this tend to be. But the Swedish Smash scene definitely seemed to think that Leffen really needed a reality check on his behaviour.
Was justifiable to put the foot down and make him understand that some people were serious about wanting him to improve his behavior.
What I will tell you about though is how this ban affected Leffens' outlook on everything in his life, to the point where he would even go on to say in the future,
if I could turn back time and not get banned, I would probably still get banned, because it was such a huge humbling experience.
This ban would become a defining part of Leffens' character going forward. The forced year break would give him time to explore other avenues, and that would define his future. He would start to get into Marvel vs. Capcom, a traditional fighting game which would be vital in his future career. He would also meet his current girlfriend through the game, as well as be able to take a breather and spend time reflecting on his experience in the Smash community. Overall, Leffen views his time with the ban positively looking back. However, while Leffen was banned from competing in Sweden, as I said, the ban was contentious around the world, so Leffen was still able to compete that year at a few international tournaments. He would travel to Melee's outing at EVO, placing 9th at that tournament, and also HF LAN 6, where he would place 2nd to Ice. Leffens' ban wouldn't just allow him new outlooks though, it would be something that defined his character as he returned to the Melee scene in the following year. Leffen was now viewed as the bad guy, the villain of the scene who was banned. Now back to take revenge on those he feels wronged him, and prove that he wasn't just good, he was capable of beating the best. While he had shown that he had improved over the course of his ban, I don't think anyone else was ready for what he was truly capable of during his return at Apex 2014.
2 o'clock. I did. We were alive forever.
All right,
so here we
straight
go.
into it.
Yeah, straight into it. Hungrybox.
Winners finals.
Was too
ready.
No, Leffen.
It's backwards. Accidentally.
Ooh, got that hit, but it didn't work. And then jab up smash. 1-1. Up smash, dude. We got a lead in game 3. Yo, 3 stocks to 1.
Last chance.
Is this gonna be the upset?
Gonna do it.
Ooh, we got a USA chant. The crowd's for Hungrybox. Oh! And then Leffen jumps out of his chair.
Leffen would take down the gatekeeper Hungrybox to put himself truly on the map by entering Apex 2014 top 8 on winner's side. And with the gatekeeper of the 5 gods defeated, he was only coming for more.
The Pride match. This is a big Pride match, and oh no, there it is. There it is. Armada, I believe Leffen is using all the hate to his advantage. Fox Ditto, no boost.
And I was struggling with, should I come back or should I not? But ultimately it was the what if I come back and beat everyone? What if I get revenge?
And we got the first stage, and
Damn,
people
yeah.
are cheering.
People are cheering for
my.
Armada for once. For once.
And the up smash, and he wins. And he won. Leffen has finally beaten Armada.
Damn.
Leffen would enact the revenge that he dreamed of on his year out by beating his old friend Armada. Not just once, but twice, back to back in Grand Finals resets. If you know Armada, you know that this was not something that happens from luck. Armada is well renowned for not losing to people outside the top 5. And in fact, he hadn't lost to anyone outside of that in 4 years before this loss. Leffen looked like he would truly become a threat to the era of the gods. Sorry, did I say would?
How many up airs is this guy getting? Whoa! What a combo! What a combo! He gets the assist and Leffen takes it! Oh my god.
BBC!
Kicking Mango into the loser's bracket.
Yo, that is dangerous.
Oh, it's King!
No, the bubble.
Right
That's it. That's it, and Leffen takes it over Mewtwo King, a 3-stock on Dreamland.
Over the course of just over a year, Leffen would go on to slowly but surely take the gods down one by one, ending his quest at the legendary tournament of Apex 2015. Strangely enough though, this wasn't his most memorable win at the event. By February of 2015, Leffen had become the trash-talking, god-slaying villain of Smash.
How can you not hate me? I'm too good.
Truly playing more and more into the persona as he enjoyed playing what he admits now was somewhat of a character and a strategy that he used to market himself to potential sponsors. Which would definitely work as he would be picked up by TSM only a few months after beating Mewtwo King. However, you may be wondering, based on the title of this video, doesn't that mean that the era of the gods was already over? And we haven't even gotten to talking about the run yet. In fact, you could say that this win was the end of the era of the gods based on its definition. A tournament was lost by one of the gods, so maybe I have clickbaited you. Unfortunately for you, however, you're now too deep and are subject to my suggestion that this isn't what defined the era of the gods. What did that would come a little later. But first, let's set the stakes just a tad more, as there's still a big part of the Godslayer's story we haven't even talked about yet. After his strong start in 2015, Leffen wouldn't be able to create an opportunity for him to win another big tournament. Even though he stayed consistent getting top 6 at every event except Press Start, he would struggle with Armada, whose Fox had now reached a point of being a staple of his play and was matching Leffen in the Fox Titter, as well as Mango being big roadblocks for him in his way to try and win some large American events. However, after BAM, all the way over in Australia, and another second place finish and defeat at the hands of Mango, it seemed like something shifted in Leffen. Something clicked, and he was about to go on a tear through the competition.
Oh my
Beautiful
God.
forward smash.
That's
Edge
gonna
guard
be it.
situation. I don't know if Armada can make it back.
I don't think so, dude. That's
And
it.
Leffen takes his
Leffen takes the
first
tournament.
U.S. major.
Hot puff.
A window of possibility opened up for...
Oh, is that it? That's it. Leffen takes FC return.
Nice.
That's the opportunity Leffen needed.
Oh, beautiful pivot grab.
The nair was so airy.
It definitely was a little bit, but I think even better.
Oh,
Nice.
doesn't matter. Leffen covers it all. The shield drop. The
Great
young
job,
kids
Leffen.
always shield drop. And Leffen takes the third straight tournament.
During the summer of 2015, Leffen won 3 consecutive big events in CEO, FC Smash, and What the Fox, in which he would flip the Armada narrative that was forming on its head by taking multiple sets over him with only a single one going to Game 5. In fact, through all of these events, he would take a set from each of the active gods at the time, with PPMD not having shown up to an event since Apex. Along with that stat, he also won every single one of these tournaments through winner's side. Not even showing a moment of weakness, Leffen would never drop to the loser's side to give people even a glimmer of hope. He was the type of player that if he's gonna win in a dominant fashion. So can you blame people at the time for thinking that despite him placing second behind Armada on the summer rankings, at that moment in time, Leffen is probably the best player in the world?
Okay, maybe he's not only on the same level as Z6, but maybe he's the best of the entire group. Maybe he is the best in the world.
He was looking certifiably unstoppable. But as we reached the Big House 5 towards the end of the year, an event that if he had won could have shifted him from being closer to that #1 for the whole year. But when he arrived into America, he was turned away at customs due to his visa. If the gods couldn't stop him, the American government itself would deny him entry to competition completely.
Biden, blast!
Armada would then go on to win the Big House 5 in Leffens' absence. At the time, it was thought that though it was unfortunate, Leffens' visa issue would just be a quick one. He'll be able to apply for the visa that he needs, and he'll be back to competing and crushing dreams as he had been beforehand. For half a year, Leffen will be barred from competing in the US, the main hub of Smash. With Europe only having 2 real events of any comparable size, you can only imagine how tough this would be on him. You were so close to achieving a long-term goal, only to have it snatched away by circumstances out of your control. A feeling I'm sure a lot of people can relate to, just on a wider scale, I guess. We all know how hard that kind of feeling is. This wasn't like his ban, something he could use to reflect and improve upon even further towards his comeback, as at the end, it was ambiguous. He had no idea if he would be granted a visa tomorrow or in 3 years. During this time, motivation was at an all-time low for Leffen. The only hope in sight after this half a year was a string of 3 Canadian tournaments happening in June of that year. EGLX, the first Battle of BC, and the Premier Canadian Tournament in GOML 2016. If Leffen wanted to achieve even something small this year, he would need to try his best to perform at these events, and fight through that cloud above him to revive himself in front of his sponsor, the entire community, and in his heart. Going into EGLX, Leffen had competed at only 4 larger events to start the year, and only one of those had Armada in attendance, the only player to really be able to challenge him. This, combined with the aforementioned motivational problems, would cause Leffen to slow down, even dropping a set to the UK's Professor Pro. At the time, a top 30 player was still an uncharacteristic loss for him, though he still clearly wanted to be able to perform to some degree at EGLX, at least reaching the gods, even if he wasn't beating them. Therefore, I don't think anyone was prepared for what would happen at EGLX. As in winners quarters, he would match up against the 6th seed for the event, top 10 player and famous Pikachu main, Axe. While he would drop game 1, he would manage to take games 2 and 3 in very strong performances. The wind in his sails going into the next game. It looked like it would just be a clean 3-1 from Leffen.
Nice spacing. This is scary. Oh! The mix-up. Is that it? Oh, terrible DI. He's gone. Yeah. Yes, oh! What? The jump. Oh! The reverse. He couldn't do anything.
Dash at shine.
Lost his jump. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what he gets on this.
And he gets the jump again with the back air. Dude.
Oh my god, how did that not show?
Normally he wave lands and gets like an up smash. Is that it? That's it! Oh my god, an Axe right now!
Great
with an amazing victory over Leffen in his first North American tournament in forever. Maximus going in.
Leffen would drop into losers before top 8 after an insanely close set, which he was definitely not happy about.
I was really let down by losing to Axe, but I knew it could happen. So after Axe, I was like, I gotta focus on losers, But I really wasn't like ready mentally, I think, for a loss like that.
His first tournament back against the best in the world, and he gets upset. Leffen, thinking this is one of his only chances to get back in the game, piling that pressure on himself, takes this loss extremely hard, which anyone can tell you means that the rest of the tournament isn't gonna look too pretty either.
And after losing to Axe, I just got stuck in my own head. I really was just like, I was just thinking so much. I wasn't concentrating on the games at all. I was thinking about like everything, like you name it, like Twitter, Reddit, like what I've been doing, what's gonna come next. And I wasn't thinking like, what is my opponent doing?
Although he would beat KGH in a matchup he is comfortable with at this point, the Fox Ditto, up next in losers would be Duck, one of the best Samus players to ever do it, and a matchup that Leffen is known to have struggled with in the past against the likes of Plop. With his mental in the absolute gutter, even the smallest slip up here could spiral him out of the tournament before he even gets a shot at one of the top 5.
Back on stage at forward, it was such a great option. Forward smash coming out. Wave dash back forward smash. Oh, and crisp movement towards the ledge.
Down 2-1, Leffen puts his head down to try and get himself off tilt and bring back this set and save his bracket run here.
I thought he was going to shoot! Oh! And Leffen is done.
Whoa. Leffen falls out of EGLX in 8th. His worst performance at an American major since press start 1 year ago. His so-called resurrection reduced to nothing more than a whimper.
It's like an absolutely awful feeling. Everything in your entire world has just gone to shit. This was one of my few chances to compete at international level, and I just threw it so hard. I made a fool out of myself. I failed at everything I cared about.
With one of his only chances at a comeback, Leffen almost just defeats himself by getting completely stuck in his own head, while Hungrybox, who had been going extremely strong this year, continues his streak of top 2 finishes with another win. Another god unable to be stopped in Leffen's absence. However, all of this misfortune was finally about to come to an end. In a strange twist of fate, almost as if he had paid the price in his loss, the world gave Leffen a break, and he woke up after exiting the bracket to an email confirming that his visa had been approved, meaning that he would be able to compete once again in the US before the end of the year, revitalizing his hope in his career, and even more importantly, removing the cloud of doubt from his head, allowing him to approach the game and competition again with motivation and a clear mind. Maybe it was even the timing of all this that would allow him to do what this whole video has been building up to, and that's GOML 2016, the run that ended an era. Leffen would go on to win a relatively not stacked Battle of BC only 2 weeks after, still going Game 5 in both sets with the ever consistent SFAT, which I think to onlookers would show that Leffen, while clearly getting back to form, wasn't the level that we had seen him in the year prior, though he still had one more week to de-rust and try and get himself ready for GOML, an event that would have all 4 active gods in attendance, and 24 of the top 50, by all means a super major level of competition, even if not in full attendance. Despite his poor performance at EGLX, people still rated Leffen highly, and he was still seeded for 4th place, with Mewtwo being the only god seeded below him, at 5th. Leffen would have to beat at least 3 of the gods if he wanted to win this tournament, most likely with his predictive path being through Mewtwo and Armada into then either Mango or Hungrybox. If he wanted to do this, he would need to play like his old self. He would need to play like Leffen the Godslayer. Leffen would swiftly make his way to M2K in winners quarterfinals, with no real close calls, and looking on form. However, despite being seeded above Mewtwo and therefore expected to win, this would by no means be easy. M2K had been a notoriously tricky matchup for Leffen, with him being the last of the gods for him to defeat due to his tricky playstyle and encyclopedic knowledge of the Marth and Fox matchup. This was going to come down to the wire. While Game 1 starts with a big open-up from M2K, Leffen would regain his footing and take the first stock. M2K wouldn't let that go unanswered though, and quickly answered back. M2K would make multiple gimp attempts, but Leffen doesn't panic and does not fall for it. He then goes completely unanswered, absolutely running a train over M2K with seamless pressure, clean shines, and a mistake to take the game in a free stop. However, we all know where we're about to go. Into Mewtwo domain expansion, final destination. Yes, that's just what I'm going to call Marth on FD from now on. Leffen would come out surprisingly hot though, but it was no match for the King's domain, with him taking the game in a 2-stop.
Whoa, that was dangerous. What is going on?
Here,
yeah, seriously, yeah.
Both of these players looking strong on their respective stages. However, with Leffen's counterpick next, we were ready for the momentum to swing back in his direction. On Battlefield though, M2K would counter with his Swiss Army knife of characters and pull out his Sheik to try and combat the Fox on a not flat stage. The two would go back and forth, with strong combos on both sides, Leffen slowly pulling a lead, until he was up a stock, looking to close out the game, but one missed ledge dash would bring this game back into a winnable state for the King. They would go tit for tat in the last stock, each player looking drastically more shaky. Leffen missing multiple kill confirms, M2K living by a thread each time until...
Can he get up? Up there, that's gonna do it! Mewtwo cleans up that game.
M2K up 2-1 looks to knock Leffen into losers with just one more game. However, this time, instead of looking at the ground, Leffen rests his head back to the sky and takes a moment to collect himself. With no clouds overhead to cloud his vision, he needs to get himself back into this set.
Uphill. Leffen in complete control over the stock so far. Catching that.
Socket back down there. Nice, that's it.
Yeah, that'll do it.
All right.
Oh my god, this is so tight. Fire. It's gonna be it. Oh no, wait. YouTube King. Oh, no. They are respecting each other so much here. No one really wants to commit to anything. Oh, there's that what? Dash attack. Yo, what? Oh, is that it? Yo. Well done by Leffen. Way to hold it together.
Leffen clutches up against the king and takes the set 3-2, with a well-deserved pop-off of a release of some of those emotions that have been building up in his forced exile. Though it wasn't over by a long shot. With this win, he moves into top 8, where he will need to face an old friend, and current ranked #1 in the world, Armada. The last time these two played was at B6 3 months before, where Leffen lost in a pretty decisive Fox Ditto. Leffen had been struggling against the bastion of consistency that was Armada in recent times. So, would he be able to do it here, where he's expected to lose after months away from the top level of competition? Well, Leffen would come out of the gates swinging and would not slow down against Armada's Fox, showing absolute control over the matchup. Armada's Fox just didn't look up to par with Leffen on that day. Once Leffen got the lead, he never even looked like he would let it slip. And just like that, Leffen was up 2-0 against the Armada, the first seed of the event. The person expected to take this whole thing home was about to go down 3-0 against Leffen? Well, not on his watch. As he will do when he's put into a tight spot, with no faith in his Fox to get the job done, Armada's tried and true will come to save the day. He selects Peach and goes to Final Destination. Can Leffen close out the set against Armada's last stand?
Oh, that's gonna be the stop. Jeez. Out of shield! Is that it? Yes, it is! Wow! Out of shield, ladies and gentlemen. Leffen takes it. 3-1 over Armada.
3-1, Leffen shows off just how on point he is today, with an amazing wave shine out of shield combo to finish Armada off in precise fashion, advancing him to winners finals. Leffen truly now was looking like a force to be reckoned with. He'd stormed through 2 of the 4 gods already, and though Mewtwo King made him look beatable, he was going to need a significant roadblock to stop this train. Well, isn't it appropriate then that his next opponent meeting him in winners finals would be Hungrybox? The current hotness since beating his demon Armada at DreamHack the year prior had been on a big streak in 2016 with only top 3 finishes. His signature slow-paced game plan and his blooming mastery over the Fox matchup, Hungrybox seemed like the perfect person to defend the Pantheon once again and put a stop to this Godslayer's run. and he would start the set with an immediate bucket of ice for him. A fast up air rest would remind the upstart he's going to need to mind his pace if he wants to compete with this god. And slow it down he would. Leffen taking his time a tad more, shooting his gun and mixing up his timings between shooting and going in. Enough to eke out the first game. However, with the box's counter pick, you would expect the momentum to shift, but Leffen would go completely untouched for the first entire 40 seconds of the first game, which in Melee is kinda insane. Leffen would keep on pushing forward, taking the first 2 stocks in such a fashion that it looked like Hungrybox may be completely helpless to do anything in this set. The momentum just completely slipping away. And with an up smash and a taunt, Leffen showed just how confident he was. That taunt though may have been the wrong move. Maybe a show of overconfidence or a sleeper agent activation for the box. Leffen, despite being up 3 stocks to 1 and Hungrybox at 80%, a lethal percent for Jigglypuff in the matchup, would somehow start to loosen his grip just enough for the box to strike back with a brutal 0 to death. Then, in just one grab...
Oh, wow.
Is this it?
Okay, he beat it away.
Oh my god! That's the setup! Hungrybox, humongous comeback!
An absolutely huge momentum swing. Now it was anyone's set, and though Leffen would come out swinging once again in Game 3, taking the game to another 2 stock to 1 lead, Hungrybox would show why the world called him the Clutch Box. With another big comeback, he would take Game 3. It just seemed like Leffen couldn't close the games out. Could he get it together enough to take the last 2 games and advance to Grand Finals? Or was he going to have to do this from loser's side?
Wait, Leffen needs this. No lasers now. He's just fighting with his feet.
Yeah. I'll throw up in the good KO. That's
he did it! Stock? He takes it!
He's a 4 stock too! Back throw, with me again. Yes, he goes out there. This should be it. But he shot! He shot! I don't think he has jump! He doesn't have jumps!
Leffen with the clutchest play!
A now iconic Shine would close out what was a crazy Game 5 set, and would push Leffen through to winner's side of Grand Finals. That's 3 gods down in just 1 tournament run, something he'd only done once before in his run at What the Fox. That in itself was considered an incredible run, but what if he had to beat all 4 of them? Because while this was happening, a typical event was going on down in the losers bracket.
Have the double jump or something. That might be a shot. Wow. Yep.
Mango do the top platform. He's trying to cross the stage.
Oh, he's holding in. Oh, please, Mango.
Please. Up there is the Mango correctly. But his stock is gone now. Mango goes up 2-1.
He's gonna roll in.
He rolls in. Mango was so ready.
Oh, no. Another side. He gets it. Mango moves on. 3-1 victory over Armada.
At the end of the day, we might be friends, but I'm still trying to win this game. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Wember there. Oh no, Wember arrest. And he will slowly fall off. He's on the rope. He's on the rope. That's it. I think that's it. And the crowd.
Mango, after dropping out early in winner's side, had been going on one of his iconic losers runs, going through Armada, Lucky and Hungrybox to make it all the way back to Grand Finals. A story we had heard many a time. Mango, after dropping down early, wakes up and goes on to win a stacked tournament from the losers bracket. This isn't a story that's new, or one that will get old. But on this day, in Toronto, would we see another page added to the story of Mango's losers run? Or would we see something we had never seen before? Mango and Leffens sit down and get ready to play a grand finals where no matter the result, the run will be absolutely legendary. For the crowd and the people at home, there may have been no better two players in no better circumstances than this to arrive at this point.
With the punish, Leffens saying, I'm going to cut that combo short and have it go. Oh, that's a little patient. He's 2 wins away from... Whoa. Whoa. And the taunt. Counter jab, man. Oh, wait, part of the defense. Whoa. Wow, Mango. Nice jab, and he gets the spike! Am I seeing this right? We see Mango Mark? I think whoa! Alright, I'm beside myself right now, screen! The Mango Mark? The spirit of music? What is going on? Oh my god! Coming out of that potential uphill. Immediate forward smash, just like the Falco. And the TI all the way on stage. Back can't forward smash like that, Mango. Nice smash, TI. Could be the grab. That might be it. Is that it? Is that it? No. Air dodge. Yep, that's it. That's it. Leffen wins. Leffen makes the comeback. He beats all 4 gods in the wake. But I have to say, wins out of winners.
That's 4 down, none to go. Leffen would remind the whole world why he was called the Godslayer and show them that he was not a player to be forgotten. Overcoming all of the odds from being completely shut out of the country to once again come back and prove it all in the game. I truly see this as the run that ended the era of the gods. As despite Hungrybox and Armada's dominance really coming through in the coming year and beyond, 2016 would be a turning point, as it would be the last year we would see PPMD in a tournament, as well as really seeing players like Plup begin to consistently challenge the top level, going on to win in the coming years. There was no longer just one player to defeat the gods, no real add-on or continuation to their story, just new blood coming in. And then we would begin to see players like Wizrobe and Axe also challenge the top 6. Leffen's run for me is a defining moment. A moment where the Godslayer arc of the 5 gods story, if you will, truly concluded. He showed that they were human. That no matter how many you threw in front of someone in one run, you could do it. And goddamn, was it a sight to behold. And absolutely an achievement that to this day, Leffen should be proud of. Hey, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, I want to give a quick shout out to my Patreon members: Coco Nya, Dan Landon, Why Am I Comsy, Yarrick Ford, ADHD Field Mess, Biss, Mr. Business, Snugs, ECS, and Little Stork. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, it means so much. And if you want to help out the channel as well, for $1 you can get access to my Discord and Patreon exclusive videos. If even 1% of my audience were to pledge, it would change my life. I'd be able to do all these videos so much easier, so much more stress-free. It would mean the world to me. So please consider it, and thank you for all that already do. See you next time.